Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out how to not just have to set our day inside the script and instead use what's called a parameter at the end to get our value. All right. The way we're going to do that is with what's called an argument. Now, the thing I'm about to show you, I want to be very clear. I actually want to turn my camera on because it's important to know. What I'm about to show you will not work on the web server. There is a different way to do it. It's almost exactly the same with a little bit different syntax, but the concept is going to be the exact same. So what I'm showing you now will only work on the command line, will only work in the terminal. But when we want to do something on the web, which we'll do at the end of this lesson, we'll have to change our code a little bit at the top. Okay, so I just really wanted to emphasize that as we go. So how do we do this? Well, we get what's called an argument or a parameter, and I'm gonna set the day to be equal to actually, we're going to save all this as is, and we're just going to make a new quick one it's going to be called arg.php, like as if it's a pirate, just so you can see it in action. We're going to echo, the whole thing is going to be echo $argv bracket 1 semicolon. Close our PHP, save it. This is our whole script. What's it going to do? It's going to print whatever we put after the script. So let's do an ls. It is there, arg. Let's do a clear, just so we have a nice clear kind of thing going on. Okay, great. So let's type php arg.php space red. And you'll see that it actually put the word red. Now, I probably should have done this. /n. Okay. Run it again. Red. Let's run it as blue. It tells you the argument is blue. Let's run it as 42. It prints 42. Pretty straightforward what we're doing here. All right, now let's run it so it says Wednesday. It prints up Wednesday. Okay, so now we see that this little line of code lets us take whatever comes in after the parameter. The other interesting thing is we could do echo argv2 /n. And what that's going to do for us Wednesday cheese is go argument 1, argument 2. Pretty cool. It's very powerful. So, with the idea of this argument 1, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to our switch statement. And the day of the week is going to equal argument 1. Save that. So now I'm not setting the day of the week here. Let's go to the terminal. Clear it. Let's go to php switch. That's what we just modified. php space Wednesday. The French word for Wednesday is mercredi. Let's do Tuesday. The French word for Tuesday is mardi. Cheese. That's not a valid day. And what if we run it without an argument? I think it'll error. It did. There was actually, it gave us a warning hey, it's not defined. At the same time, because it's not defined, we're just checking for that's not a valid day. Okay, how can we force a value if there is no other value? And that is, if I'm not mistaken, question mark, question mark, the default. So question mark after you're setting a variable is if this doesn't equal anything, then set it by default to Monday. There we go. We could also just set it to space. So that way the default with nothing is that's not a valid day, as opposed to that. Okay, this is so powerful. You now have the capability to pull values in and use those in your scripts. Like I said, when we do this for the web, it's a slightly different piece of code that will go here, but conceptually, it's the exact same thing that's going to happen. So this was switch statements. The next thing that I want to do is go over loops because that's also going to be really important to us. If you want to forget anything today, the switch statement is probably the thing to forget. Do I use those a lot in my everyday life? I do not. Should I use them in everyday life? Probably. You know, like what if there's a user type, you know, like admin or user or, you know, editor or reader, something like that. Probably the best place to do something like this. And as I said, in other computer languages, they handle special values like this with other types of variables, but PHP, we're kind of, you know, we have strings available to us. We actually have a lot of different variable types, but we'll be using a lot of strings. So this is a good way to do categorical data.